Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome or welcome back to Bookeemonsters. My name is PK. It is Friday, June the 28th, and we are here to celebrate books. We are lovers of story and love to share that world with among ourselves and with others. Today, we are going to be looking at or ending the month-long readathon that I sponsored, the Midsummer HistMyst, that is highlighting historical mysteries. And I'll show you what I have read or about to finish in this month for it. First, some quick announcements. We don't have any sprints tonight. I don't do them on Friday night. We will have them tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, 3 p.m. Eastern. They will go for 5 hours. I do every Tuesday and Thursday evenings and Saturday afternoons. Our next morning show will be on Monday. Next week's morning show will go on as usual, even though there is a holiday. And next week's sprints on July 4th, which is my regular Thursday, will also go on as usual. I will most likely start a little bit earlier than I typically would since I'm not working that day. I'm just not sure what that start time is yet. Okay, let us jump in. Of my historical mysteries, I have finished 7 and I'm in the middle of 2. There are still, counting today, 3 days left in the month. I will definitely finish A Ruse of Shadows. I'm hoping I can complete the other one, but I'm not pushing that one. So let us jump in. The one I read this month was To Shield the Queen. This was technically a reread for me. I read this a couple decades ago and fell away from the series. And since then, she has written a total of 23 books in this series. Good for her. This is by Fiona Buckley, and it features a character named Ursula Blanchard. It is set during Elizabeth the First, the Tudor times back in the 1500s. Since it's been so long since I read it, I decided to reread it so I can get back in this series. This is called To Shield the Queen. Rumor has linked Queen Elizabeth I to her master of horse, Robin Dudley. As gossip would have it, only his ailing wife Amy prevents marriage between Dudley and the Queen. To quell the idle tongues at court, the Queen dispatches Ursula Blanchard to tend to the sick woman's needs. But not even Ursula can prevent the accident that takes Amy's life. That truly happened. That is a true cold case from that time. Did she fall or was she pushed? Was Ursula a pawn of Dudley and the Queen? Suddenly, Ursula finds herself at the center of the scandal, trying to protect Elizabeth as she loses her heart to a Frenchman who may be flirting with sedition against the Queen. She can trust no one, neither her lover nor her monarch, as she sets out to find the truth in a glittering court that conceals a wellspring of blood and lies. As I mentioned, that is an actual historical crime. And this author solves it in her way. Next up, Dance with Death is 12th in the series of a series called Barker and Llewellyn. This is by Will Thomas, 12th of 16, set in the late 1800s. When I'm going to be looking at what I read, if it's later in the series, I am going to jump back and read the first book in that series, the summary of the first book of the series, in case you are interested in starting it. This is very much a Sherlock Holmes Watson kind of dynamic between two male characters, but it is very well done. Some Danger Involved is the title of the first book. When a student bearing a striking resemblance to artists' rendering of Jesus Christ is found murdered by crucifixion in London's Jewish ghetto, 19th century private detective Barker must hire an assistant to help him solve the sinister case. Out of all who answer an ad for a position with some danger involved, the eccentric and enigmatic drinking game Barker chooses downtrodden Llewellyn, a gutsy young man whose murky past includes recent stints at both an Oxford college and an Oxford prison. As Llewellyn learns the ropes of his position, he is drawn deeper and deeper into Barker's peculiar world of vigilante detective work, as well as the dark heart of London's teeming underworld. Together they pass through chop houses, stables, and clandestine tea rooms, tangling with the early Italian mafia, a mad professor of eugenics, and other shadowy figures, inching ever closer to the shocking truth behind the murder. So, if you have liked Sherlock Holmes, this is definitely something along those lines. Next up, I read Lady Violet Attends a Wedding. This is book 2 in a series of 8 featuring Lady Violet. Very pretty covers. The first in the series is Lady Violet Investigates. This is by Grace Burrows. I've known about this series, but I've never been drawn to it. But this is the author of the Lord Julian series that I have fallen in love with and have definitely encouraged people to read. This is her earlier series, and you can feel some elements that she was working with that she, I think, perfected in the Lord Julian series. This is also set during Regency, so if you're looking for something that would tickle that Bridgerton vibe, if you are into that, again, very pretty cover. This is Lady Violet Investigates. Lady Violet Belmain emerges from 2 years of mourning, less than enthusiastic about resuming her place in polite society. She's talked into attending a country house party by her French physician friend Hugh Saint Sevier, only to find that the house party guests are preyed upon a mysterious thief. Among the guests is Sebastian Macheath, Marquis of Dunkeld. Violet once considered Sebastian her closest confidant, but war and the passing years have changed him. Nonetheless, when Sebastian's valet, another veteran, comes under suspicion, Violet, Saint Sevier, and Sebastian must work together to discover the true culprit, lest an innocent man be sent to the gallows for crimes he did not commit. Those aren't big books, they are enjoyable books. Next, I read Murder at Ardith Hall by Irina Shapiro. That is 6th of 14 in the Redmond and Hayes mysteries. This is also a male partnership kind of series. The first book is Murder in the Crypt. These are Kindle Unlimited if that is something you don't want to spend a lot of money, if you already are doing Kindle Unlimited. The first book is Murder in the Crypt. When the body of a young man is found stuffed into the tomb of a medieval knight, Parish Constable Daniel Hayes is tasked with investigating his first solo murder case. Suspicion instantly falls on the only stranger to arrive in the village of Birch Hill just before the crime took place. But the American captain proves to be an unexpected asset, a former soldier and a skilled surgeon, former soldier of the American Civil War. Jason Redmond is not only willing to assist Hayes with the investigation, but will risk his own safety to apprehend the killer. With no suspects, no motive, and few leads to follow, Redmond and Hayes must solve the crime before one of them becomes the murderer's next victim. I then read The Unkept Woman by Alison Montclair, another series I very much love. I have, this is fourth of six in the Sparks and Bainbridge mysteries. This is set just after World War II in London. The first book is The Right Sort of Man. And I have recommended this series a lot recently. This is written very smartly with witty banter. Like, and I've always, and you've heard me compare this to, this is like that snappy dialogue from the 1930s comedy movies that you don't really see a whole, at least not done as well as this in books. In a London slowly recovering from World War II, two very different women join forces to launch a business venture in the heart of Mayfair, the Right Sort Marriage Bureau. Miss Iris Sparks, quick-witted and impulsive, and Mrs. Gwendolyn Bainbridge, practical and widowed with a young son, are determined to achieve some independence and do some good in a rapidly changing world. But their promising start is threatened when their newest client is found murdered, and the man arrested for the crime is the prospective husband they matched her with. While the police are convinced they have their man, Miss Sparks and Mrs. Bainbridge are not. To clear his name and to rescue their fledgling operations reputation, Sparks and Bainbridge decide to investigate on their own. Little do they know that this will put their very lives at risk. Next up, The Perils of Lady Catherine de Bourgh by Claudia Gray. This is third in this series. This author has surprised me. There are gabillions of Jane Austen knockoffs, shall we say, in both romance, in mystery, in everything. Few pull it off. Some pull it off. Stephanie Barron comes to mind. But this author has. So this one is interesting in that this author has combined all of the worlds of Jane Austen's books, all the characters, into one world. And in the first book, they all come together at a house party. The first book is The Murder of Mr. Wickham. And the other interesting thing about this author is she deals with the unsavory characters, ties up the loose ends of unsavory characters. They're just desserts, shall we say. So, yes, Mr. Wickham is murdered. The sleuths in this are the son and daughter of a couple of the characters. The happily married Mr. Knightley and Emma are throwing a party at their country estate, bringing together distant relatives and new acquaintances, characters beloved by Jane Austen fans. Definitely not invited is Mr. Wickham, whose latest financial scheme has netted him an even broader array of enemies. As tempers flare and secrets are revealed, it's clear that everyone would be happier if Mr. Wickham got his comeuppance. Yet they're all shocked when Wickham turns up murdered, except, of course, for the killer hidden in their midst. Nearly everyone at the house party is a suspect, so it falls to the party's two youngest guests to solve the mystery. Juliet Tilney, the smart and resourceful daughter of Catherine and Henry, eager for adventure beyond Northanger Abbey, and Jonathan Darcy, the Darcys' eldest son, whose adherence to propriety makes his father seem almost relaxed. He's actually on the spectrum. The unlikely pair must put aside their own poor first impressions and uncover the guilty party before an innocent person is sentenced to hang. I actually just purchased these in physical book form. Next up, I read Bones Buried Deep. This is fourth in the Dr. Benjamin Bones mysteries by Emma Jameson. This is set during the first part of World War II in 1940s. This one, the first book is Bones in the Blackout. It also has an alternative title, Marriage Can Be Murder. Hi, Mary. Not a problem. Happy Friday. Hope everyone, especially, are well today and happy. Well, thank you. I hope you are especially too. So, what I love about this series is this is a Dr. Benjamin Bones, but his, I won't say sidekick because she would be offended. Lady Juliet is reminds me of the actress Gwendolyn. What is her last name? She was in Game of Thrones. She played Lady Bree, very, very, very tall blonde. Um, that's what this character seems to be almost to a T. So, on Dr. Benjamin Bones' first night in the quaint Cornish village of Birdswing, a shocking hit and run leaves him seriously injured and his unfaithful wife dead. As he recuperates, Lady Juliet, a fiery aristocrat who won't take no for an answer, pulls him into a sleuthing partnership destined to change both their lives. Suspecting that Ben's late wife was murdered, he and Juliet dive headfirst into the investigation, questioning Birdswing's most eccentric and suspicious residents. In a time of ration books, bomb shelters, and relentless blackout drills, Ben and Juliet race to unmask a killer lurking in the shadows. With ingenuity, just a little supernatural aid from the mysterious Fenton House ghost, they uncover a web of secrets, lies, and hidden motives that will keep you guessing until the heart pounding climax. What is interesting to me, just as a observer of my own reading habits, I never used to like books set during World War II, and I have recently enjoyed them very much. So as changes evolve, our reading habits evolve, I have ventured into World War II and the 50s. That's as far as I'll go. Any plans for the weekend, Mary? Next up, this was the my most anticipated release of the year. The next in series by Sherry Thomas, the Lady Sherlock series. I love this series. I binged it last year. And what I always say that I love about this is yes, there has to be intelligence because she is on the same level as Sherlock Holmes. And we know Sherlock Holmes is intelligence level. But when a mystery not book in itself is resolved, you have the reveal and you get like, ah, here's how the bad guy did it. But then picture this as here's that first level. But then this author goes, oh wait, but really it was this second layer. Oh, but really it was this because this was what really was going on. And I really enjoyed that part. So this first book is called A Study in Scarlet Women. With her inquisitive mind, Charlotte Holmes has never felt comfortable with the demureness expected of the fairer sex in upper class society. But even she never thought that she would become a social pariah, an outcast fending for herself on the mean streets of London. When the city is struck by a trio of unexpected deaths and the suspicion falls on her sister and her father, Charlotte is desperate to find the true culprits and clear the family name. She'll have help from friends, new and old, a kind-hearted widow, a police inspector, and a man who has long loved her. But in the end, it will be up to Charlotte, under the assumed name Sherlock Holmes, to challenge society's expectations and match wits against an unseen mastermind. Yes, I do recommend that very much. After you've done, if your introduction was Veronica Speedwell, this is a good series to segue into. So that one I'm in the middle of. I'm savoring it. I'm being mature and I'm not inhaling it in one go. I'm savoring it. This is another one I've just started called Empire of Shadows. And it is a historical mystery, but it's also has they're saying some touches of fantasy, but I think it's compared to The Mummy and Romancing the Stone. It has those almost mystical elements to it, and I'm really enjoying it. This is by Jacqueline Benson. There's 2 books in this series. So this says, this is called Empire of Shadows. Nice Victorian ladies don't run off to find legendary lost cities. One trifling little arrest shouldn't have cost Ellie Mallory her job, but it's only the latest in a line of injustices facing any educated woman with archaeological ambitions. When Ellie stumbles across the map to a mysterious ancient city, she knows she's holding her chance to revolutionize pre-Columbian history. There's just one teensy complication. A ruthless villain wants it, and Ellie is all that stands in his way. To race him to the ruins and avoid being violently disposed of, she needs the help of maverick surveyor Adam Bates, a snake-wrangling rogue who can't seem to keep his dratted shirt on. But there's more than Ellie's scholarly reputation and life on the line. Her enemies aren't just looters. They're after an arcane secret rumored to lie in the heart of the ruins, a mystical artifact with a power that could shake the world. Between stealing trousers, plummeting over waterfalls, and trying not to fall in love with her machete-wielding partner, will Ellie be able to stop the oracle of a lost empire from falling into the wrong hands? There are other books that claim to be similar to the Mummy movie. Few actually do it. And I feel so far that this one is. And the language of the book, when it's done well, it kind of tickles your brain. This is kind of tickling the brain. This, sorry about that. The very first scene, the first like prologue scene is set in the 1600s with a Catholic priest in South America. And I was just absolutely transported to that scene. It was not the best writing in the world, I won't say. It's not classic level writing, but whatever magic that author did just pulled me into that scene. So I'm very much enjoying it. And that's all I read last night during sprints. Yes, the plumber is back to pull a toilet and mechanically snake the water line. Ah, no fun. There's a show outside, and right now I can't handle the heat. So other than that, no, I'm tired. Oh, well, once they're gone, just bunker down. Not doing the show is what I meant to say. Hope you have some fun plans. My fun plans are doing no plans other than sprints tomorrow. Added the First Lady shirt. Yes! Oh, I hope you love it. I hope you love it. I had known about I binged it last year. I had known about that series, but Sherlock Holmes isn't my first love, even though I loved Benedict Cumberbatch in that series and Robert Downey Jr. in his movies. I just had this wall about Sherlock Holmes, so I didn't read that series. And then when I read, I was just absolutely gobsmacked at how well it was done. Mary says, "Hi, Emily." Kindle's almost as much as the paperback. Oh, I hate it when that happens. Ugh. Is it on any of the libraries? Yeah, anyway, that is our time, and those are the books that I did for Midsummer HistMyst. And for anybody who dabbled into historical mysteries, maybe for the first time, thank you so much. I hope you have enjoyed them as much as I enjoyed them. It's just adding to your TBR. I know that's a mixed blessing. Hope you all have a day. Thank you. You too. Emily says hi to Mary. All righty. Well, yes, we do have sprints tomorrow. I don't have them tonight. I don't do them on Friday nights, but we'll have them tomorrow at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, 3 p.m. Eastern. They'll go for 5 hours. Pop in if you want to. Bring a friend if you want to. My dad was part of Sherlock Holmes discussion group that met once a month. There is much to unpack with Sherlock Holmes. I appreciate the character. He was just never something that I had been pulled into until later in my life. I don't know, maybe it was the reputation. I don't like to follow hype. I'm stubborn. I'm a stubborn Scorpio. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for stopping in. And if you're watching this later, thank you so much for watching later. If I don't see you this weekend, have a very good weekend. Be safe, be cool, drink lots of water, read good books, and as the banner says here, don't be a bookworm, be a bookie monster. Nom nom nom. Have a good day. God bless.